The hot sole plate of the iron sank into my forearm with a pain so fierce that my voice froze in my throat for the first few seconds. Then the stench came, scorched skin, my skin rising like smoke as my sister leaned her weight into it, her mouth curved in a small, private smile that I would see in nightmares for years afterward. "Whoops," Lily said in a flat, bored voice, finally raising the iron after what felt like a lifetime, but couldn't have been more than 6 or 7 seconds. My hand must have slipped. I grabbed my arm, tears flooding my eyes as I staggered back. The burn was already swelling, a furious red rectangle that matched the iron's face perfectly. This wasn't a splash or a brush by. This was planned. "Mom," I yelled, clutching the wound to my chest. Lily just burned me with the iron. My mother hurried into the laundry room, took one glance at me crying and Lily standing there with the iron dangling from her hand, and instantly wrapped her arms around my sister. "Oh, honey, are you all right?" she murmured to Lily. "That must have frightened you so much." "I'm the one hurt," I choked out, holding my arm out. Blisters were already ballooning, the skin raw and glistening. Mom barely looked. "She didn't mean it, Maya. Stop overreacting. Accidents happen." "It wasn't an accident." She held it there. "Don't make Lily feel worse than she already does," Mom snapped, pulling my sister closer. "She feels awful, don't you, sweetheart?" Lily pressed her face into Mom's shoulder and produced tears on command. "I'm so sorry, Mommy. It just slipped while I was ironing. I never wanted to hurt Maya. That was always the script. Always." Lily, 14 months younger than my 18 years, had been accidentally injuring me since we were little. The tumble down the stairs accident. The baseball bat to the shin accident. The bleach in my conditioner accident. Every single time, my parents rushed to console her for the terrible guilt of almost hurting her sister while I limped, bled, or, today, blistered. "Come on, let's get some ice," Mom said, still not really looking at the damage. "And please stop the theatrics. You're upsetting Lily." Dad appeared in the doorway, assessed the situation in half a second, and sighed. "Maya's being dramatic again, I see. Lily burned me on purpose." I pleaded. "Look at the shape. It's exactly the iron." "Things fall in all kinds of ways," Dad said with the confidence of a man who had never studied burn patterns in his life. "Remember when you insisted Lily cut your hair on purpose while you were asleep? She was only practicing styling. Stop trying to paint your sister as a monster." I shut down. I always shut down eventually. There was no point fighting the Morris family gospel. Lily was flawless, and I was the jealous liar who kept inventing stories to hurt her. Mom's medical treatment was a quick rinse under the kitchen tap, a dab of cheap ointment, and some ancient gauze. "There," she announced, as if she'd just saved a life. "All better. Now tell your sister you're sorry for saying she did it deliberately." I stared at her in disbelief. "Sorry? I have second-degree burns. And which is worse, Maya? A mark that will fade, or ruining your little sister's reputation forever?" I looked past Mom's shoulder. Lily's eyes met mine. The moment our parents couldn't see, she grinned and silently mouthed, "Do it." "I'm sorry, Lily," I forced out through clenched teeth. "I'm sorry I said you burned me on purpose." "I forgive you," Lily answered in her sweetest voice. "I know pain makes you lash out sometimes." That night the throbbing kept me awake. Every pulse felt like another press of the iron. When I peeled back the bandage, I almost threw up. The burn was deeper than I'd realized. The tiny circles of the steam vents were imprinted clearly into my flesh. I took pictures with shaking hands. My camera roll was already a museum of evidence. Bruises shaped like fingerprints, cuts in perfect lines, older burns, all waved away as my imagination or cries for attention. By day 3, I knew it was badly infected. Red lines crawled up toward my elbow. The smell underneath the gauze was sickeningly sweet, and fever left me dizzy. "Mom," I said, finding her and Lily at the kitchen table, "I think it's infected. It's getting worse." "You always think the worst," she said, turning a page in her magazine. "It's only been a few days. Stop dragging it out." I unwrapped the bandage. Even Lily recoiled. Pus oozed from ruptured blisters, and the red streaks looked like poison racing through my veins. "Okay, that does look rough," Mom finally admitted. "But we can't take you to the hospital. They'll ask questions." Questions about what? About how it really happened. And you'll start your usual stories about poor Lily. I'll say it was an accident. I lied, willing to say anything for antibiotics. Mom waited. Fine. But one word blaming your sister and you're grounded until you're 20. In the ER, the triage nurse lifted the gauze, frowned, and fast-tracked me. My family was left in the waiting area. Dr. Patel uncovered the wound layer by layer, her face tightening. When it was fully exposed, she just stared for a long moment. "Tell me exactly how this happened," she said quietly. "My sister accidentally dropped the iron on me," I repeated like a robot. "Dropped. Can you explain how one drops a clothing iron onto an arm and gets a burn like this?" "She was ironing. It slipped, landed on me." "I understand." She called a nurse over. "We need to debride and culture this now. And photograph everything for the chart. This infection is serious." Another doctor appeared. Dr. Harrison, burn specialist. He examined the imprint with a ruler and a magnifying lens, expression darkening. "The steam vent pattern is perfectly symmetrical," he said almost to himself. "Show me exactly how she was holding the iron when it fell." I gave a weak demonstration. He took more photos. Contact duration? A second or two. These burns require a minimum of 4 to 5 seconds of firm pressure. That's not a fall. That's a press. He called in a third physician. Dr. Williams, forensic burn analyst. She studied the edges under bright light. Depth is uniform across the entire plate. Sharp demarcation. Classic forced contact burn. I have never, in 23 years, seen an accidental clothing iron injury present like this. Someone placed that iron on her arm and held it there. My pulse hammered in my ears. "My parents are outside. They'll be furious if I—" "Your parents can wait," Dr. Harrison said firmly. "Right now we treat you and we document properly. Nurse, page security and call Child Protective Services." "Wait, no. I'm 18. I don't need CPS and Lily's only 16, she didn't mean. Did your sister do this deliberately?" Dr. Patel asked softly. I looked at the perfect rectangle of ruined skin, at the infection they said could still kill me, at every scar I had hidden for years. I thought of Lily's smirk each time our parents chose her. "Yes," I whispered. She pressed it on purpose. "And my parents have always known. They just pretend they don't." Everything spilled out then. Years of accidents. The stove burner when I ate the last of her candy. The drain cleaner in my contact lens solution. The broken wrist from being tripped at the top of the stairs. And every time, the same performance, Lily crying harder than I did while I bled. Detective Garrett arrived before the 4 antibiotics were even finished. She photographed not just the iron burn, but every old mark I pointed out. Dr. Williams wrote a 12-page report concluding the current injury was unmistakably intentional. When my parents were brought into the consultation room, they doubled down. "Maya has always been jealous of Lily," Mom insisted. "She's making it up again." "You treated a 3rd-degree burn with tap water and old Neosporin for 3 days, the detective said. "Why?" "We didn't realize it was that serious," Dad claimed. Maya exaggerates. But the evidence was a tidal wave. Forensic photos. My previous medical records flagged for suspicious injuries. Sworn statements from neighbors who had seen things through windows over the years. Even screenshots of Lily's private story where she bragged about teaching big sis manners next to photos of my bruises. Lily was taken into custody that night. My parents were arrested for felony child endangerment and medical neglect. In court, the burn analyst's testimony was devastating. He projected the photos onto a huge screen and walked the judge through every millimeter. The depth, the symmetry, the steam hole pattern, none of it compatible with anything except deliberate sustained pressure. Whoever did this, he concluded, held a 300-degree iron against this girl's skin and pressed. When the evidence became undeniable, Lily finally dropped the angel mask. She deserved it, she spat. Always acting better than me, always trying to steal the spotlight. Mom and Dad loved me more and she couldn't handle it. "So you burned her?" the prosecutor asked. "She burned herself by existing," Lily said coldly. "I just made the lesson stick." My parents' faces when their golden child spoke those words in open court were almost worth everything. Lily was sent to juvenile detention until she turns 18, then 5 years probation and mandatory therapy. My parents each got 5 years in state prison. The judge was especially enraged about the delay in treatment. "You chose an image over your daughter's life," he told them. "She was hours from sepsis because you refused to believe your favorite child could be cruel." I needed 3 skin grafts. The scar is still a perfect iron-shaped patch on my forearm. Some days I hide it under sleeves, other days I roll them up and let the world see what surviving looks like. I live alone now, in a little studio 3 states away. I still flinch at the sound of steam. I still sniff every new bottle before I use it. I still document anything that looks like a bruise. But I'm healing. Not just the skin they rebuilt, but the deeper belief that I was crazy, dramatic, worthless. Dr. Williams's words still ring in my head sometimes. This is not a spill pattern. No, it never was. It was proof. Proof that I wasn't lying. Proof that someone finally looked at the evidence and saw the truth. Just a girl whose sister held an iron to her arm while her parents chose which daughter to love out loud. The iron left its mark in more ways than one. But I walked away from the fire. And that part was no accident.